Hey, this is DJ.
This is Cause. We're buried above ground,
And this is Speak of the Devil podcast.
Greetings from Podcastville. Episode 34 of the Speak of the Devil podcast is brought to you on January 5th, 2020. We are in the 2020s now, so here we go. Let's jump right into it with some music. As you can see, I got a whole bunch of Christmas goodies around me, and we will get to those in a little bit, but first I'd like to talk about just a cool kind of hang jam experience that I had with a local band that everybody should check out, a band called Monsters in the Mirror. I actually had a chance the other night to hang out with the whole crew and even jam a little bit with them and hang out with them and hear some new tracks that they got going on. As a matter of fact, one of the new tracks is actually available to everybody. It's available to you right now. It's Jekyll and Hyde, and actually I will put the link to that video in the description at the end of this video. So check them out. They're pretty cool. It was a nice time hanging with the boys down there, and so now we'll get to some of those Christmas goodies. This is probably the first one, the CCA in-ear C16. So it's actually the CCA 16. C16. So what that means is that there's actually for an in-ear monitor for, these aren't like, they are professional. They're not molded. They just have, like normal earbuds or mesh or whatever you want to use. But what's nice about them is that they have actually 8 balance armatures in each ear. So you have 2 drivers for the bass, 2 drivers for the mids, and then 4 drivers for the trebles in each ear. So whereas some off the shelf, cheap headphones you could buy would have 1 driver per ear trying to do everything, these things balance it out with 8 per ear. So it's pretty cool. This is my first time really playing with in-ears. I'm more old school, and the only in-ears I would put would be Heroes to try to block out some of the crazy sound, because I just like that old school vibe of hearing kind of the live mix in the room. But I know that hey, it's 2020, man. We got to move forward to the next generation of technology, so in-ears are the thing to do. So I would definitely recommend these. I think the caveat to any in-ears, no matter what you get, is just how great of a fit you have. The tighter the fit and the more it stays, the better bass frequency responses you get in your ears, no matter what it is. And when I first got it, they came with a variety of different tips that you could place in your ear, and I found that the kind of like the memory foam ones work a little bit better because they kind of heat and expand and kind of create a better fit, so you can kind of move around and bounce around. So pretty cool. I mean, and sometimes, the volume level is crazy. I'm just listening on like iPods on some like live things. The sound is absolutely intense. So that leads me on to the next fun item that we have is the Fluid Audio Strum Buddy Heavy Metal Edition. This is, this is what I was asking for. I had one of these, I think maybe it was last year. Yeah, I think it was last Christmas or the Christmas before that. And Fluid Audio actually makes really good audio monitors, but they kind of dabbled in this portable guitar monitor amp little solution right here. And the first one that they made was really good. I loved it. But the thing about it was just like you just wanted it to have a little bit of heavy metal kind of thing. They had an overdrive in it, but it wasn't really intense. This gets the job done. This sounds really cool. All you got to do is squeegee it, suction on it onto your, guitar, kind of like that. And then, comes right off. Doesn't do any damage to your guitar or whatever. And then this is it. You just plug it in with this little cord. Lithium ion battery in there. It's good for just, warming up or just noodling around or anything like that. It's just cool when you don't, if your rig's all set up in a practice space or something, you just want to noodle around, or before a gig, if you want to warm up a little bit, this is perfect. So they got it right. Fluid audio with the Strum Buddy. So highly recommended. Check it out. I love it. I will be jamming with it a lot. And then, of course, this brings me to my last little gift from Christmas is the multi-stomp MS-70CDR from Zoom. It's a chorus, reverb, delay pedal. A couple episodes ago, I introduced the positive grid head that I have. And like I said, I love that head, but that head is an extreme modeling head. So it takes all its processing power, or whatever, so they say. And it just models amps. It has no effects, So this is a way to put some effects into it. It does have an effects loop. They sound great. I'm not a big effects guy anyway. So a little bit of chorus, a little bit of delay and reverb is all I need. And this delivers tenfold of what, I could possibly want. The sounds are super high quality. So it's a perfect match for that. I think the next step for me would probably be to get like a MIDI controller for the positive grid, and that way I'll be able to control my channels, and then that beast is going to be live ready or gig ready for anybody to experience. So it'll be fun. And so that will do it for music. Like I said, check out the link at the bottom of this video to check out that Monsters in the Mirror new video. And now we'll move on to video games. And with video games, I have to show the monstrosity that is the SNK Neo Geo Arcade Stick Pro. Look at this thing. Now this thing looks huge, but it's actually pretty small for what it has in it. So yes, it is a huge controller. And and the funny thing about it is when you have huge hands like me, it actually kind of works. It's very, very comfortable. What's really nice about it is right here, as you can see, probably not actually, but this says it's got, and it does, it has 20 preloaded Neo Geo games, all of which are fighting games. The best fighting games from Neo Geo, by the way, but they don't have a variety mix like the Neo Geo Mini did, but that's okay because, as you can also not see, but it actually says right there, this hooks up to the Neo Geo Mini. So there's a little cord right here that plugs in. These little lights go from blue to green, or green to blue. I can't remember what the order is. And then you can actually use this to control the Neo Geo Mini, and then there's some controller ports on the front. So you can use this by itself. There's, all the select buttons you need are on the side. It has its own HDMI out, so it will go to the TV. You could play this, out of the box, you can play this one player with 20 games that are on it, and they're really fun. And I understand that there's going to be an update soon that might probably include all of the mini games. So maybe we don't need to do this crazy dongle thing. Maybe it'll be different games. I don't know. But from what I've heard, if you buy this, all of the firmware updates that Neo Geo is going to do in terms of the games will be free. I mean, this is a pretty hefty price, investment to get in. But like I say, all you got to do is click in an HDMI, port and plug it in your TV, and you're playing perfect arcade quality Neo Geo. And the video quality on the arcade stick even though it's 720p just as the Mini, they refined it a little bit better, so it's more accurate to what Neo Geo purists would want. I could hardly tell the difference between the Mini and the arcade stick, but it did look a little bit better with this. So this is very cool. If you're a Neo Geo enthusiast like I am, I would definitely encourage getting one of these. It's a great companion to the Mini. It's extremely fun. It looks great on TVs, and it's certainly a nice coffee table piece because it's huge. So it'll definitely catch people's attention when they look at it. So the only other video game news is just rumors about a Switch Pro. Now that we know, and I haven't talked about it on this podcast, but we know that there will be a PS5 and the Xbox, whatever it's called, the next Xbox next year. So basically, if you break it down in terms of simple computing power, I think like the Switch right now is basically like a teraflop kind of processing power, and these things are going to be upwards of 10, 12, 15 teraflops. So there's no way that you can't dumb down the games like they've been doing very well, like with Witcher 3 and other games like that. You're just not going to be able to do that. So I think, and there's been analysts saying that it seems very likely that Nintendo is going to announce probably a $399 Switch Pro 4K version, and then you'll have the gamut. You'll have the regular middle-of-the-line Switch. You'll have the Switch Lite, which is just portable, and then the Switch Pro, or whatever they want to call it, which will be at the upper end of the echelon. And now that we've already had iterations with PlayStation and Xbox doing Xbox One X and PS Pro and all that kind of stuff, it's not that unheard of, and people have kind of accepted it almost like iPhones, where it's just the next version, even though it's in the same 4, 5, 6 whatever generation. So that would be extremely interesting to see. I love all the Nintendo stuff. My Nintendo Switch Lite has gotten a lot of use. I've gotten a couple cool games over Christmas for that. Not worth mentioning because they're just just fun games. But that's what's great about the Switch is it's just if it had a little bit more beefier power and it can keep up like it has been, even if it's just dumbed down ports of really 8K games down to 4K, who cares? That's cool to me. So we'll see what Nintendo can do, and very excited about the future of that. And then kind of tying into that is wrestling with video games anyway. Because I watched a lot of top 10 best and worst of video games for 2019, and it seems pretty consistent that the number one flop of 2019 was WWE 2K20. Now, the true story of that was why it really fell apart was they switched developers midstream, and people had to kind of pick up and take the old code, and it didn't work, and it's extremely buggy. That's the main issue. It's just very buggy. And then once 2020 actually worked or hit over, a lot of systems wouldn't read the game, and it would crash. And now there's an update that works, but the game has just been buggy beyond belief, and there's no good studio that's kind of leading it. So that's probably the worst game. I haven't played it because I've just heard it's the plague, so I've stayed away from it as such, but it just seems like the story just always gets worse with that game. So I mean, if there's any wrestling news this week, I guess it would be that. And look, in a few weeks, we're gearing up for Royal Rumble. The only thing that we really know, obviously Roman Reigns is going to be in the Rumble. So, maybe he'll win since they announced him kind of early on. And then Daniel Bryan's going to fight The Fiend, maybe. So we'll see if he's actually The Fiend. It looks like it's going to be that way. That's the only other match that we know of. So once we get closer, maybe do some predictions, and then we'll get to how that's all going to turn out. So that is it for episode 34 of the Speak of the Devil podcast. We will see you on episode 35. See you guys later. Bye.